my, it is good to be back. I definitely had an enjoyable couple of days off, but ladies and gents, we are back on that seasonal anime grind, and today we're here to talk about the first show in the summer anime lineup, the Misfit of Demon King Academy, and we're going to be talking about the premiere, also titled The Misfit of Demon King Academy. Also, for those of you who have been with me for a while, yes, we are going to go into some design time. We're going to talk about some character designs, talk about some color psychology and fun stuff like that. But also, if you're new here, hey, how's it going? My name is JoJo. I talk about seasonal anime stuff here, and I occasionally talk too much. But with that said, if you are new, hit that subscribe button. If you're old and you haven't hit that subscribe button, first of all, I'm disappointed, but hit that dang subscribe button. We're trying to get to 25K before the end of the year, and I think we could do it, but it's going to be a battle to get there. Needless to say, I've talked too much about not the episode, so let's go ahead and talk about the episode. Okay, so Silverlink. So this is a studio that I find to be so insanely hit and miss with me. Oftentimes I'll like Silverlink stuff. I'm thinking in particular of Hamefura, Tanaka-kun is always listless, Bo Furry, and then you get stuff like Masamune-kun's Revenge, or God forbid Death March. They definitely have a thing for isekai, and this isn't an isekai, but it certainly kind of feels like one, doesn't it? And I gotta say, I was apprehensive, right? I was like, okay, well, Silverlink mostly does good work, but they can also kind of not do the best. So I was curious to see what they were gonna do. And honestly, this is some of their best. I was happily surprised. Honestly, it sort of gave me, again, I said it was like an isekai, and it sort of reminded me of Bo Furry in its animation at the very least. The effects on display are stupendous. It doesn't have the same action choreography that Bo Furry had, but it does have a stupendous amount of spectacle at play. Tons of CG work here. I didn't actually write down the CG artist's name for this, whoever is in charge of CG. I will correct myself next week, hopefully when we find out more of the staff list. I want to be sure in these videos that I'm giving credit where credit is due. So whoever worked on the CG or rather just the effect work for the spells in the show, stupendous work. This show could have easily been blasé, but not only do you have some stellar effects work, not only do you have some fun animation, but you also have an amazing cast who are really bringing it, and you have some solid direction as well. Shin Onuma is really bringing it. I trusted him after Bo Furry, and he also did F, like the series F, A Tale of Memories and Melodies, which I enjoyed way back when. But he also did Death March, which I did not enjoy. But I do think that his direction here really pushes the show. They focus on what they need to focus on. Everybody's delivering their A game. I think Onuma-san's direction is quite excellent here. In fairness, though, as it should be with a premiere, right? And every show's premiere should be doing their best to grip you, right? There should be something there that you're like, aha, I want to know more about this, or this aspect of this world, or this character. And with this series, I gotta say, I want to know more about the world, and I really want to know more about my boy Voldy. And if you're new here, yeah, I give characters nicknames because my pronunciation of shit is awful. So instead of Anos Voldemort, Voldemort, instead of Anos Voldemort, I'm just gonna call him Voldy. So that's his name. Misha can stay Misha, but I might occasionally call her Mish. Just cause. Nicknames are fun, damn it. But what do you say we go ahead and we actually start going through the episode beat by beat, as I tend to do here, so that I can get all my thoughts out there, so that I can talk too much, talk your ear off a little bit about this premiere bit by bit. Let's go ahead and talk specifically about the flashback and the setup. So we start by being told that 2,000 years ago, this dude basically just killed everybody. Killed everything, killed everybody, everything, every atom, just destroyed everything. We're talking all the humans. We're talking all the spirits. We're talking all the gods. This demon king had arisen and wiped out everything in their path. And with that introduction, you think that Voldy's gonna be this horrible, absolute monster, and the way you're introduced to him, they lead you to think that without actually giving the man a proper second to tell you who he is, what he is, for you to really get a grip of that. You will only really get to see pieces of who Voldy is by the end of the episode. But here, like, they actually do such a good job at making you feel like, God damn, this dude's a monster. Like, an absolute monster. Like, the fact that he wiped out, like, all these people, and you're like, what a beast. And he very clearly is a villain, right? Like, that is, at the very least, what we have established. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have morals, doesn't mean that he doesn't have things that he believes in, as we find out towards the end of the episode. But he is very much a demon king, right? Like, he is on top for a reason, and he is ruthless, as we see when he bumps into Zeppis, who I will nickname as Zepp. That will be funny later. But yeah, we find out in the present that the Demon King Academy is basically welcoming in this next generation, right? The generation that 2,000 years later should have the resurrected Demon King in their ranks. So they are titled the Generation of Chaos. In what is essentially one big Harry Potter reference. I gotta say, the Harry Potter vibes in this premiere, especially the first half, are strong. Like the fact that the owls show up and deliver an invitation to a magical school where you have to go through a test to get in and blah blah blah. Mind you, you don't have to do a test to get into Harry Potter, but you do get like the sorting hat thing. It's vaguely similar is what I'm trying to say. It gave me that vibe, and I know like every magic school thing reminds me of Harry Potter, but I grew up on this shit, so you're gonna have to deal with it. But it did definitely give me some strong Harry Potter vibes. But that said, I was impressed when we see our main duo, Misha and Voldy, saunter past Zepp without really thinking about it, and the dude gets pissed. But Voldy is very clearly like unimpressed with Zepp, which is going to be a running gag in this premiere. The instant too of them like crossing paths is interesting to me because Zepp is shown to be this sort of like sort of a noble type. Like his family is well regarded. He is like a direct descendant of the Demon King from 2,000 years ago, which of course, as we know, is our boy Voldy. And Voldy pretty much makes it known right away that he's not like impressed. Like Zepp tries to summon some magic, and I'm going to talk about magic and specifically Voldy's flames in a second because I got something I want to say about them. But it's immediately like he blows out the fire like he's blowing out candles on a cake, and does something to Voldy. I'm not entirely clear what he does. He kind of like makes Voldy freeze up. He like locks his arms by his sides and does something and makes him scream in pain. I'm not super clear what happens. But he does something to him, and it's basically, again, trying to show off that Voldy is not somebody to be messed with. Also, before we get into the whole entrance exam, I do want to quickly address that the art really caught me. Not so much caught me off guard, because I'd seen the PVs, so I kind of knew what we were getting into. But while the character art is, I think, pretty great, and I'll get into it more once we get into the design time at the end of the video. But the background art is what really caught me. It is, it almost feels sort of like brushstroked. Like I can tell, like it felt like it was almost painted at times. Other times it felt like it was just like irregular, sort of like drawn on a computer type thing. But then other times it looks very soft, and that's the biggest takeaway for me, is that the backgrounds were surprisingly soft, and I think that's on purpose, like trying to show you like you thought that the world that was left ravaged by the Demon King would be this insane hellscape, but it's actually quite pleasant. Like the world of MISFIT at Demon King Academy is very pleasant, like especially when we see the shop later and like where Voldy currently lives. It's a very pleasant world that they inhabit, which, again, I think is meant to sort of surprise you, because it certainly surprised me. It's not what I expected, but while it is a surprise, to be sure, it is a welcome one. Now, with that said, we're going to talk about the entrance exams. I have a little bit less to say about this. The entrance exams, basically, we get Hedwig doing a very bad, whoever animated Hedwig here, very bad lip flaps on the owl, as they explain basically what's going to happen. Like, we waste no time. We jump right into a duel as their practical test. And basically they established that basically every rule that normally would inhabit a duel is tossed out the window. You may use weapons, you may use magic, whatever you have at your disposal, you use it. Because in the aftermath of this duel, basically only 5 people are gonna pass. So, you better bring your A game. And, like, again, I appreciate that we don't waste any time. Like, there was no time wasted in this premiere. Everything had a purpose, everything had a point. And it was either really funny or it was really badass. And that's the thing about this show that I was surprised by. It didn't have comedy listed as one of its subgenres, but I actually found myself laughing out loud a handful of times, specifically at the parents. We'll get there in a second. But also just that, what a dork Voldy turns out to be. Like, my man's trying to crack jokes, but it doesn't really land, and he's trying to be like he's so badass that it almost comes off as comical at times. Like, he's so insanely OP, and he's trying really hard to be like pleasant, or not pleasant, but like funny at times. Like, he'll tell a joke and he's like, oh, that didn't land. I mean, it was funny where I came from, I guess. Oh well, whatever, let's do this. Like, he's that kind of dude. Again, very pleasantly surprised. But this fight, again, so caught me off guard. Like, take a shot every time I say caught me off guard or surprise me. Don't, you'll be dead. Zepp arrives, and he learned a lesson. Like, Zepp was like, okay, now I'm gonna rock some armor that blocks magic. Like, well, verbal magic. So you can't use whatever the hell it was that you used on me when we first met. So nice try. This time, I'm gonna whoop your ass. And of course, Voldy's like, yeah, sure. And this is where we see Zepp bust out this fire sword. And this is where I want to talk about Zepp's flames. The outline of these flames is so cool looking. Like, I gotta gush. I love the way the magic looks in this show, whether it be CG or stuff like Zepp's flames. It looks so cool. Like, again, I'm just like, if you can make something look cool, I'm in. And with the magic in the show, it looks so cool. Zepp's flames, the flames on the sword, they look fantastic. And I'm so happy it's not just like the CG flames that we see, like, especially lately. Like those sort of like green screen flames, you know what I'm talking about? You've definitely seen shows that use the green screen fire, you know what I'm talking about? You don't get that here. Zepp's flames are animated, like, clearly, like, they are actually drawn, they are animated properly into the show, and they have this really cool, like, black outline to them. And it just sort of makes it look like not like normal fire. Like, it doesn't look quite right. Like, there's something about it, something otherworldly, which it's supposed to be. It's sword that is conjured by fire. It's essentially hellfire. And I think that they really did a great job at making not only the magic in general look cool, because again, we'll get, like, there's other fights in the show, and I won't really address it, like, once we get there, because I've already addressed it here, but the magic in general looks great, and it's exemplified in this scene with Zepp's flames. Like, you can tell whoever was working on the Zepp scenes really had fun with the fire. It always looked really cool. However, fire cannot save Zepp, because Voldy is basically on his Saitama shit, and brutalizes this dude. And I mean, like, just destroys him. If I may once again borrow my favorite Olin Rogers quote, this man just takes him to prom, drops him off, and don't even pay. Just destroys this man. Like, a moment of silence for Zepp, because Voldy, I can't even show it, because again, YouTube's not a fan of the human bean juice, but, like, they destroy Zepp. Like, they screw this man up. And how does Zepp get his ass kicked? How? With Voldy's heartbeat. That's mental. Like, Voldy's heartbeat, like, just makes Zepp explode into blood. Like he shoots human bean juice out his eyes, out his ears, and his nose, and his mouth, and he just, like, all messed up solely off this man's heartbeat. That's so OP. Like, this dude is like every dude's, like, power trip fantasy. Like, where it kind of reminds me of that Caleb City skit where, like, the MC, like, when the MC's too powerful and, like, the main character's able to use, like, water droplets to knock people out. Like, it's stuff like it really reminds me of that Caleb City skit. where he's just too strong. And then he proceeds to kill and resurrect this dude by snapping his fingers. Nani? Like, this man, like, he kills him, he resurrects him, and this is where he hits him with another joke where he's just like, and I can kill you and resurrect you as long as I can bring you back in 3 seconds. We call this in my time the 3-second rule. And I was like, oh my G. Please, dude. I love Voldy. Voldy's my man right now. I love this overpowered jokester. I love this man, even though his jokes don't land. I don't care, I love it. We also get to see the magic aptitude test, but honestly, I'm not gonna talk much about this. Gonna kind of just gloss over it. We see Voldy and the girl, who I have in my notes as we later learn is Misha, basically just sort of like give the school like an example of like their magic. Basically, it's just an aptitude test. The only thing worth noting here is that Voldy basically gets a Vegeta punch machine moment. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. He basically, just like blows up the crystal that they're using to like test their magic level. What does the scouter say about their power level? My God, Dragon Ball references all over the place. But yeah, at this point, I was sort of confused as to how the school was going to like not just recognize that Voldy is clearly who he says he is, that he is actually the reincarnated Anos Voldemort, whatever, Voldemort, whatever. See, this is why we use nicknames. Like how he's not just the resurrected Demon King, you know? And like we find out later why it is, and I'm like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense. But basically, this whole scene just wraps up with the girl, again, Misha, waiting for Voldy outside the school because he had said see you later. And he's sort of like, oh, you actually meant like I didn't know that you were gonna take it as like I will literally see you later. That's okay. Do you want to go to my house for dinner? And I was like, oh my God, like this is Nani. Y'all know me, and if you don't, hi, my name's JoJo. I ship things. I'm a shipper. I'm trash. Okay, I accept that about myself. But like immediately, I was like, I love it. Like already, like it's cute. It doesn't take much, man. Like I was right away like, I love it. It's cute. And that takes us to the visiting home scene where we also find out that Voldy is able to use teleportation magic, which Misha says like has been lost since the mythical age. The mythical age being when Voldy originally lived before he sort of went away and then came back 2,000 years later. The mythical age magic, like a lot of like certain spells, I guess had been lost to time, teleportation being one of them. So it's a cool touch, again, nice world building. But the best part of the scene is that we get to see Voldy's parents, who I love. I love them. I love these two so much. The dynamic that he has with his parents is hilarious, dude. Like the fact that, like, you know that phrase like, well, I wasn't born yesterday. Well, Voldy wasn't born yesterday, but he was born a month ago. 1 month. And his parents are just like, yeah, I guess this is what kids do. Like, they're just like, so like, yeah, sure, fine, cool, whatever. A part of me wonders if maybe like Voldy like put like a hypnosis spell on them or like some sort of like be cool around me type thing. Like if he's using his influence somehow or his abilities, I don't know. I really hope not, and I hope that the parents are just that goofy that they're just like, sure, why the hell not? He's our kid, so we love and support him no matter what. Like, they are too good. And I love, like, the fact that his mom's like, did you get in? Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Of course he was gonna get in. Like, he's very clearly, like, the resurrected Demon King, but, like, it's too good. I love the parents. Like, the fact that the mom sees Misha and is like, oh my God, you've only been around a month and you're already bringing home a wife? Like, this is the best day ever. And, like, the husband's like, this is great. I love you, son. It's like, what the freak? Like, I love these two. I love these two so much. And, like, the fact that they right away are very welcoming to Misha, it's great. And Misha as well, like, basically seems already kind of into Voldy as well. Maybe not in the way that Mama Demon seems to think. Like, I don't think they're getting married anytime soon, but I do think that Misha maybe has some feelings for our boy Voldy. But again, I don't think she's quite there yet. She got a bit of that kudere thing going on, so like we'll give it some time. Maybe she'll grow to like him as the two, get to know each other. And also, like, I guess I'll lump this in with the visiting home section of the episode, but when the pair are talking about their upbringings thus far, like Misha talking about how she doesn't like the guy who was cheering her on when she was first walking to the academy. It wasn't her dad, it was like her guardian, and how her parents are kind of busy. Again, nice little bit of character building moments. Like they really use every minute of this episode to sort of either establish some world stuff or establish some character stuff, which I really dig. And I love that she gives this man a head pat. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to make me happy. And you just gotta give me shippy scenes, give me action scenes, give me cool world and character building stuff, and you got me hook, line, and sinker. And my God, they are establishing the ship right away. I am simping for the ship. That is what is happening immediately. I love that they are like clearly making a play to make this like the ship of the season. Like they're already like, okay, we're the first show here. We're immediately gonna start making plays. We're gonna start making plays for best best effect work. We're immediately gonna start making plays for best ship of the year. We gotta be making plays out here. And I ship it, man. I ship it, hook, line, and sinker, dude. I love it. And this eventually leads to us getting caught in a trap. And again, I already talked about the magic effects, so I'm not really gonna go into detail on the magic effects, but needless to say, they are once again on fire here. Like this time, instead of fire, it's a lot of like electricity magic, like lots of electric magic. We find out there's something called origin magic, which is basically like this sort of like red ball of wibbly wobbly magicy wagicy stuff. It's interesting looking, but basically that origin magic that I talked about comes from Zepp's older brother, who arrives on the scene, although he basically just is only there to prove that his family name is strong. And remember how I said earlier that Zepp's name was going to be funny? Well, Zepp gets zapped. He zaps Zepp. He zaps Zepp. Zepp zap. Yep. Man, I'm about as funny as Voldy. Anyway, Voldy basically faces off with Zepp's bro, and he's not impressed. He's honestly, he seems kind of disappointed. And this is where I said that Voldy is a lot more interesting than I thought he was going to be. And it's part of the reason why I think the show was set up to make you think that Voldy is this like horrible dude, right? But when you see him during the fight, he brings back Zepp as a zombie, because it's been more than 3 seconds. So he brings him back as a zombie, and he goes like, you need to talk to your brother, and I'll tell you what, talk to your brother, you two, like work your stuff out, and then the two of you can come at me. And like you guys can fight me together. Isn't that what family's about? And he doesn't seem remotely interested in the hierarchy of the demons. He doesn't seem to care about who's a descendant and who's not. That doesn't seem to interest him at all. And in fact, he seems genuinely interested in the bonds of a family unit. And that really caught me off guard. Like, Voldy does have morals to him. He's not an outright villain. Like, there's actual character beats, like stuff that he cares about, things that he believes in. I was really surprised to see that. Again, like, it's just not what I had expected to see. And Zepp and Zepp's bro, obviously they don't make up. They accidentally kill each other. And instead of just letting them be dead, he brings them back. And he basically tells them, like, listen, like, don't worry about you guys being so weak, because your king is back. And he basically just announces his presence. And he seems kind of disappointed in his descendants, honestly. He doesn't really seem that impressed with them. But in the end credits, I should mention before we get to design time, I almost forgot to mention this, we do see like why Voldy is going to be viewed as not actually the reincarnation of the Demon King, because when he broke that magic crystal during the Aptitude test, which is the reason why I had to bring it up, it basically meant that the emblem on his arm that shows you like your magic aptitude, it has a symbol that nobody recognizes, so he's kind of just viewed as like a misfit. Like maybe he doesn't even really belong here type of thing. I can kind of see that. It's a bit of a workaround, it's a bit of a screwy explanation, but it works just fine. And yeah, like that's why he's not going to be viewed as the Demon King. I have a feeling that like as the show goes on, more and more people are going to be like, oh no, Voldy's like Voldy's where it's at. Like that's probably what's going to happen. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time for more color theory. Color time. It's not actually color theory, it's color psychology, but it's design time. We haven't done this in a while. I'm excited. I actually got my notes here. I got all my colors ready to go. I'm excited to talk about some colors. If you don't know, when it comes to color design, and especially character design, they are trying to tell you as much as they can about the character without actually spelling stuff out. So the immediate first glance means a lot. What a character looks like, What clothes are they wearing? What are their what eye color do they have? What hairstyle do they have? How do they present themselves? That is like, you know how they say, like when you go for a job interview, you have to dress to impress? It's the same thing with a character design. A bland character design can make for a bland character. Like you can pretty much dismiss them out of hand because their character design's kind of lame. But if a design has something interesting, something engaging, which the 2 character designs that we're going to talk about do have that, then that makes for some fun characters and you want to learn more about them. And of course, we're going to be talking about Voldy and we're going to be talking about Misha. And we got to talk about the main duo's uniforms right away, because I did notice that the certain other members of the school had different uniforms on. I think they were like black and red. I'm not really going to go into that today. But what I wanted to talk about was the main duo's uniform, Voldy and Misha. They are a bit elaborate, I will say that, but it's not uncommon for anime. In particular, I'm thinking of stuff like the Irregular at Magic High, right? Like that makes sense. Like having an elaborate uniform, it's an anime, you're gonna have over-the-top character designs. That's totally fine. I do think they're a little bit over-designed, but I still kind of like the fact that they're over-designed, you know what I mean? So I'm not against it. I'm just pointing out that, like, yeah, some people might have issue with the over-designed nature of their uniform. I think it's kind of fun, but that's just me. As far as the colors go and what the colors of the uniform could mean, I think I'm on the right track here. So there is this like navy trim, right? Like there's sort of just this navy trim. I think that's just for aesthetics. I don't think the color on that one is really supposed to mean anything, but navy is a sort of like responsible color. When you think of like navy or dark blue, you're usually thinking of like leadership type people. You're like people in some form of authority. So I can kind of get that a little bit. It could be indicating a sense of the responsibility ahead of them as a member of Demon King Academy. I feel like that's a stretch, though. The main one that I think is accurate is the fact that the uniforms are mostly white. Now, white indicates a sense of purity and innocence. What is more pure and innocent than a first year at a high school? A first-year student is always the one who is like sort of wide-eyed at everything that's going on. They're like new, they have to be taught, they have to be they have to acclimatize to this new situation. So I think that the white in the uniform is meant to indicate that they are first years, that by comparison to the others, they are pure and innocent and not really well-versed in what's going to be going on in the academy. So on that one, I think I've got sort of the right track. But let's get a little bit more specific now. Let's talk about Voldy's eyes. Voldy's eyes are probably the thing that jumps out about his design the most to me, right? He has this sort of like black and red thing going on. He has this sort of black outline around the iris and then like a sort of like red inner circle like for his iris. This is interesting. It could just be a rule of cool thing because honestly, it does just look cool. So that could be it. But at the same time, I think I have the colors figured out. I think the black and red is meant to indicate, like, especially on, like let's take it piece by piece, right? Black is a very elegant color. A lot of like when you're trying to look distinguished, you typically wear like a black suit. So I think the black outline for his eyes could be meant to indicate the elegance and authority that comes with the power in which he wields, while the red part of the iris is definitely indicating his strength and desire to reascend to his throne, but also we usually associate the color red with danger, right? It sort of like alerts and tenses you up, right? When you see red, you think red alert, red stop sign, red stop light. You typically associate red with something negative or something dangerous. And I think that the fact that it's associated with somebody like Voldy, who is so insanely powerful and is the Demon King, makes a lot of sense. And as for Misha's design, the thing that jumped out the most to me was Misha's hair clips. It's this sort of like black and white ribbon thing with an aquamarine gemstone attached to it. Now, the black and white ribbon could represent the character's sort of seemingly basic view on things. She has a very straightforward, it is what it is, kudere type of attitude. And I think that it's definitely meant to show that she's sort of going to see things as like more plain. She sort of has that deadpan reaction to a lot of stuff that happens in the episode. So I think the black and white ribbon could be indicating that sort of like, it is what it is type of attitude. Now, the gemstone, the aquamarine is definitely representing the calm purity of water. That is what aquamarine is meant to bring out of people. Like that's what an aquamarine is meant to symbolize, the calm purity of water. So again, it does match the character that we've seen thus far. Her character is definitely sort of like the calm one. She's definitely kudere, you know? She's very calm in a situation. She doesn't freak out. She doesn't really like feel the need to like run away or make a big show of things. The entire episode, she's very calm, very collected, and I think the aquamarine gemstone makes a lot of sense for her. Honestly, I think the whole ribbon is perfect. At first I thought it was a little goofy, but like once we get to know the character, I'm like, oh, now I get why she's wearing that. So yeah, that has been design time, and that's been my thoughts on this episode. I definitely went in. I maybe talked a little too much, but hey man, it's in the name. I gotta do what I gotta do. But with that said, everybody, that is gonna wrap up the first episode of the Misfit of Demon King Academy. I'm excited. This is like if this is the first episode of Summer Anime 2020, I'm hyped, man. I don't know what everybody else has been saying about this yet. I literally saw this like the second it came out, so I don't know what the rest of the community is gonna think. I love it. I don't know about you guys, but let me know. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know either in the live chat or in the comments. I'll be checking the comments for the first hour. Let me know what you guys think of the episode. Also, if you have not done so yet, please hit that subscribe button. Don't make me go Voldy on you. I will snap my fingers at you so many times. You better hit that subscribe button. Don't test me. No, but seriously though, if you consider hitting that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. Also, of course, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and boop that up snoot. And if you're new here, boop that up snoot just means hit the like button. I'm weird, so don't forget to go ahead and boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful names. Look at these beautiful people, all of whom could easily be a candidate for the Demon King. Probably not. They're all lovely people. But anyway, if you would like to join these lovely people, then go ahead and check out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can help keep this channel afloat, and I would sincerely appreciate it. But with that said, everybody, I'm gonna go edit this video. I'm excited to start Summer Anime 2020. I feel refreshed. I feel like back and ready to go. But until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.